a silver price for a sacred space, the stone, the silver, and Abraham's grace. Abraham wiped his eyes and stood up. He was a stranger and a sojourner in this land, which is a fancy way of saying he was a long-term guest. He didn't own a single square inch of the dirt he walked on. He marched over to the sons of Heth, the local people known as the Hittites, who were gathered at the city gates. Among them was a respected leader named Beeri. Abraham cleared his throat and said, "Friends, I need a place to bury my Sarah." The Hittites were a friendly bunch, and they had a lot of respect for Abraham. Beeri whispered to another elder, Elon, about how important Abraham was. They called him a mighty prince among them. They told him, "Listen, sir, pick any of our tombs. The very best one is yours. None of us will say no to you. Go ahead and take your pick." They were being incredibly generous, but Abraham had something specific in mind. Abraham didn't just want a handout. He wanted a legal, permanent home for his family. He stood up and bowed very low to the people of the land. It was his way of saying, "I really appreciate your kindness, but let's talk business." He had his eye on a very specific spot at the end of a field, a place called the Cave of Machpelah. He knew exactly who owned it, a man named Ephron. Ephron the Hittite was actually sitting right there among the leaders. Abraham looked at him and said, "If you're willing to help me, please ask Ephron to sell me his cave for the full price. I want everyone to see that I've bought it fairly." Ephron stood up, smoothing out his fine robes. He was ready to play the part of the most generous neighbor in the world. "My lord, listen to me," Ephron announced loudly so everyone could hear. "I won't sell it to you, I'll give it to you. The field, the cave, the trees, it's all yours. Right here in front of all my people, I give it to you as a gift." In those days, this was a very polite way of starting a deal. Ephron was being grand, but Abraham knew the dance of the marketplace. He wasn't going to take it for free. Abraham bowed again. He was a pro at being polite. "Please, hear me," Abraham insisted. "I want to pay the full price for the field. Take my money, and then I will bury my wife there." Abraham knew that a gift could be taken back, but a purchase was forever. He wanted to make sure that hundreds of years later, his grandkids would know this land truly belonged to them. Ephron leaned in and let out a little chuckle. "Well," he said, "the land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is a small amount like that between friends like us? Go ahead and bury your wife." 400 shekels was actually a huge amount of money. It was a king's ransom. Ephron had finally named his price, and it was a big one. Without a single complaint about the high price, Abraham got to work. He brought out his scales and began weighing the silver right there in front of everyone. Clink, clink, clink. The heavy pieces of silver piled up until they reached exactly 400 shekels. It was current money with the merchant, which meant it was the good stuff, pure and honest. The deal was done. And so, the field of Ephron, the cave of Machpelah, and every single tree within the borders of that land became Abraham's official property. It was a historic moment. With the sun setting over the hills of Hebron, Abraham finally laid Sarah to rest in the cave. It was more than just a grave. It was a piece of the promised land that finally, truly, belonged to him and his family forever.